Imagine this for a second. A key part of your network, maybe a Windows domain controller, just doing its job managing users and stuff. Totally secure, right? Now, what if that exact system, without any malware touching it, no stolen passwords, nothing like that, what if it could be secretly turned into a weapon, be used against someone else, or maybe even your own systems? Welcome to the Deep Dive. We unpack complex digital stuff to get you informed quickly. Today, we are diving into something pretty sneaky, actually. It's a new attack method called Win-DDoS, and some are calling it a silent cyber weapon. So our mission here is to figure out exactly how this thing works, how it turns regular Windows domain controllers into, well, a massive botnet for DDoS attacks. We'll look at why it's got people worried and really what you need to grasp about it. This is all coming from some really interesting research shown at DFCon 33 by Aurier and Shehak Morag from SafeBreach. What's really startling about Win-DDoS is how it flips the script on what we thought attackers needed. The researchers made a big point that it doesn't need any malicious code run, no credentials stolen. That makes it super stealthy, incredibly hard to spot. So you have to wonder, what does this mean for existing security tools? You know, the things organizations rely on. Are the normal alarm bells even going to go off?
Well, that's the crux of the problem, isn't it? And it's why Win-DDoS feels like a bit of a paradigm shift. Most security tools we use today, they're looking for malware signatures, right? Or weird login attempts, or maybe brute force attacks. Win-DDoS just sidesteps all that. It uses the system's own trusted function, so it basically flies under the radar. It's kind of like finding out your mail carrier is delivering 1 million empty boxes to flood someone's house without knowing it. The Postal Service isn't technically compromised, but it's definitely being misused. This really forces us to shift focus. Instead of just asking what malicious code is running, we need to ask how legitimate network traffic is behaving. Is it normal? Win-DDoS is essentially a new class of attack. You've got these weaponized domain controllers, potentially thousands of them, publicly accessible Windows DCs. Those hubs, managing users and network stuff, turn into this powerful botnet. And they can launch huge DDoS attacks without, leaving the usual footprints.
Right, without the usual breadcrumbs. So how does an attacker actually do that? If they're not injecting code, what's the trick? What are they exploiting?
It really boils down to exploiting certain flaws, vulnerabilities within Windows Lightweight Directory Access Protocol client code, LDAP. LDAP is basically the language computers use to chat with directory services, like Active Directory. And this attack specifically goes after a connectionless version, CLDAP, which is designed for quick queries. The core idea is actually really clever. It's about manipulating URL referrals.
Okay, manipulating referrals. The researchers laid it out as this sequence, like a 4-step process using Windows' own protocols. Let's walk through that. Step 1, what kicks it off?
Okay, step 1 is initiation. The attacker starts by sending an RPC request, that's a remote procedure call, to a bunch of different domain controllers. Think of RPC like one computer asking another to run a command remotely. It's, well, fundamental to how Windows systems talk to each other. So this RPC request basically tells the domain controllers, hey, start acting like CLDAP clients. It sort of coaxes them into initiating a connection as part of their normal job, but they aren't actually compromised.
Okay, so the RPC triggers them to act like CLDAP clients. Then what? Where do they connect?
Right, that leads straight into step 2, redirection part 1. So now these DCs, acting as CLDP clients, they connect to a CLDP server controlled by the attacker. Yeah. This attacker server then gives them a referral, points them towards another server, an LDAP server, which is also controlled by the attacker. It's like setting up a chain reaction.
I see. So they're pointed from one attacker server to another. Then step 3, redirection part 2. The DCs connect to this second attacker server, the LDAP 1. It responds, but not with just a simple redirection, right? What does it send back?
Yeah, this is where the magic or maybe the mayhem happens. This is the amplification stage. Instead of just one referral, the attacker's LDAP server sends back a massive list of referrals, just huge. Yeah. And here's the critical bit. Every single referral on that list points to the exact same place, the victim's IP address, and a specific port. Now, the problem is each entry on that list isn't just information. It's like a separate instruction. So when these maybe thousands of domain controllers get this list, they don't just pick one. They try to connect to every single IP and port specified on that list. And since they all point to the same victim, well, you can see where this is going.
Okay. So each referral triggers a new connection attempt.
Exactly.
Which takes us to step 4, the attack. All those repeated TCP connection attempts, thousands of them potentially, hitting the victim simultaneously. It just bombards the target, right? Overwhelms its resources, exhausts it, causing the denial of service.
Precisely. The researchers really emphasize the high bandwidth potential here. And Just to hammer that point home again, the attacker doesn't need any compromised infrastructure of their own to pull this off. They're using the DCs themselves.
Wow. Okay, and this isn't just theoretical. Microsoft has actually patched 4 vulnerabilities linked to this Win-DDoS method. Can you maybe highlight the key ones?
Absolutely. There were 4 main CVEs mentioned. First, CVE 2025-26673, which is an LDAP uncontrolled resource consumption issue. Then there's CVE 2025-32724, impacting LSAS, that's the Local Security Authority Subsystem Service, also uncontrolled resource consumption. Both of those got a CVSS score of 7.5, so pretty serious.
LSAS, right. That's critical for logins and security policies, if that goes
Yeah,
in.
LSAS crashes, users can't log in, systems can become unusable. These flaws essentially let an attacker trick the system into chewing up its own resources, CPU memory, until it just, well, grinds to a halt or crashes.
Okay, hitting critical services. What about the other 2 patches?
So then we have CVE 2025-4971 STIN, another 7.5 CVSS score, targeting NetLogin for uncontrolled resource consumption. NetLogin is vital for user authentication across domains, trust relationships, that sort of thing. Messing with that can really paralyze the large network. And finally, there is CVE 2025-49722, affecting the print spooler. Again, uncontrolled resource consumption, though this one was rated a bit lower at 5.7.
The print spooler seems less critical, maybe.
You think so, but historically, print spooler vulnerabilities have been surprising gateways for bigger problems, like system compromise or denial of service. It just shows even seemingly minor services can be turned into weapons. And the real-world impact of these is pretty stark. An unauthenticated attacker, someone from the outside, could potentially crash domain controllers remotely. But also, even an authenticated user inside the network, maybe a disgruntled employee or someone with low-level access, could potentially use these flaws to disrupt other internal systems. SafeBreach actually compared these flaws to another vulnerability called LDAP Nightmare, and they give a serious warning. Many enterprise security setups really underestimate the danger of DOS attacks inside their own network.
Right. The focus is often so much on keeping external threats out.
Exactly. Or preventing data breaches. The idea that internal systems could be knocked offline, or worse, used to attack other targets from within, is often overlooked or downplayed.
Okay, so bringing this back to, the people listening, IT managers, security pros, anyone concerned about this stuff, what's the takeaway? It sounds like urgent action is needed. The sources recommend a few key things. First, audit your domain controller exposure. What does that actually involve, practically speaking? It sounds like they might be exposed in ways people don't realize.
Yeah, auditing exposure here means more than just checking if they're reachable from the internet, although that's step 1, obviously. It's about understanding which internal systems can talk to them, maybe systems that shouldn't. Are there third-party tools, legacy applications maybe that have too much access? You really need to map out those potential communication paths, even the ones you don't normally think about. Find the hidden connections.
Okay, map the hidden pathways.
Yeah.
What else?
Second, and this is crucial, apply the latest security patches, those CVEs we talked about. Patch them. No, that's the most direct defense against these specific flaws. And third, maybe the biggest shift in thinking. Seriously, reassess your assumptions about internal network safety. Just because a server sits behind your main firewall doesn't automatically make it safe from being exploited or weaponized in unexpected ways like this. That crusted internal network idea needs a reality check.
It definitely feels like a wake-up call. This whole Win-DDoS thing really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, where else could these fundamental network protocols we rely on be hiding vulnerabilities? What other assumptions are we making about our defenses that might be, quietly flawed?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
This trend, moving away from pure malware towards abusing legitimate system functions, it's something we all need to watch very closely. Vigilance is key.
Absolutely. Keep exploring, stay curious about how these digital threats are evolving, and, well, always keep those cybersecurity best practices front and center.